smash the like button, and subscribe. Yo, what's up? How old are you?
Yeah, I'm 22.
Do you support Trump?
Yeah, you owe me $100, by the way.
No, you owe me $100. I talked to you recently. What is the thing that you think I owe you $100 for?
So you said people who, like the CDC and the total death count of COVID.
Oh yeah, I
only
proved you
list
wrong. I was so
people-
right on this
No,
one.
no, you proved me
He's
right.
so mad,
actually.
dude. This guy is still mad that he's came back this many days later
Yo, you
to
can
say the
stop
same
interrupting me
bullshit.
now.
Dude, I totally proved you wrong.
You can stop
and you
lurking
got
now.
mad. Your source was literally Google AI says this, and then when you clicked on the source that Google AI gave, it proved you wrong.
Hey, Eric, you can stop interrupting me now and let me speak.
You're just mad that you just
Oh,
know
wait.
that I'm right.
I actually watched y'all's debate. Can I give my input?
Yeah, go ahead.
Actually, I was right, so
So
you better.
here's my input, Dylan. I don't think you won the bet, and the reason why
I
I,
definitely
say
won.
that, the reason why I say you lost.
You lied about me. I won in capitals, everything.
So the reason why I disagree with you, Dylan, is because your claim was that if somebody were to die from a natural cause and just so happen to have COVID at the same time, then that would be categorized as a death from COVID. However, like while y'all were debating, I was watching. I had some free time, so I was looking into it myself. And what I found is like, sure, it's not as cut and dry as saying that the only deaths categorized were those directly from COVID. However, when they would include a death from somebody that did not die directly from COVID, it was when COVID would exacerbate some underlying issue.
It wasn't
So
an
the reason
exacerbation at all.
The reason why this would mean your argument failed is because I'm sure in many cases, COVID would be an underlying cause that exacerbated a death, right? Meaning that it wouldn't be the primary cause of death. Yet they would not always classify COVID as this underlying cause that exacerbated the reason for a death, merely because they had COVID at the time of death. I feel like a really good example that Parker gave during your debate to dispute your argument was when he mentioned somebody dying from a heart attack that also so happened to have COVID. A heart attack would be a natural cause. So under your view, they would have to be categorized as a death from COVID in order for you to be right, granting you the win for the $100. However,
Okay.
that would
Before
not
we
be
get-
the case.
Okay, so before we get into that nuance, those cases, I think I did win because Parker's original argument with the bet was that the only people listed in the death count were those who primarily died from COVID. That's
No,
his
that's
original
actually not.
argument.
I said
No,
those
it
who
was.
died from COVID, not with just COVID in their system. And by the way, one thing I would say there
You
is
said
that
those who died from
when,
COVID.
when it's a contributing
that
cause of
proves my
death,
point.
it still is from COVID because it's a contributing cause of that death or exacerbates the problem. So it's still
not
in that
from COVID,
context.
though.
It's still from
No,
COVID. An
no,
example I gave in this
no,
circumstance to actually
no.
demonstrate that. Let me give an example. The example that I gave was that my grandma had dementia, and that she got cancer or not cancer, COVID, right, and it caused her to die. Now, it wasn't listed as the primary, but it was listed as a contributing cause of death because it inevitably exacerbated the condition
If
that
the
she
COVID
was.
caused her to die, it would have been.
It exacerbated the condition that she was in and caused her to be in that circumstance where then she died. So a contributing cause of death is still dying from COVID, but it's dying from COVID, and then there's also other explanations, right? It's from COVID, and then there's also more on top of that, from COVID
No,
and dementia.
let me speak.
Right? Whereas specifically, right, what you're talking about is people were categorized under the deaths for just having COVID within their system, meaning individuals who died in car accidents would show up, meaning individuals who died specifically from heart attacks would show up just for having COVID within their system.
So you just keep spewing these lies that I said people who died in a car accident who had COVID would be labeled as died from COVID.
I'm saying if what you were saying is true, that people who died with COVID in their system, if what you were saying is true, that people who died with COVID in their system were categorized, it would necessarily include individuals who died in car accidents that had it within their system.
So you're lying, by the way, about what I said because I specifically specified that car accidents would not count. And also, you know what's crazy is you guys say you're not the violent.
But you said right after that the bet, which we categorized and agreed, the bet was on that you think that people who died just with COVID in their system were categorized. So either you're saying that both of us are wrong under your view, right, or you're acknowledging that you're wrong and I'm right.
I think that there's a way to solve this because I'm kind of bouncing between the view that both of you guys are wrong or that Parker is right, but it just falls down to a semantic dispute. So Dylan, let me ask you this question. would it make sense to say that somebody who died from lung cancer developed from smoking cigarettes died from smoking cigarettes?
They died from lung cancer.
So you think that it would be like false, and it wouldn't make sense for somebody to say that they died from smoking? Okay, because like under my view, I guess like
Well, smoking isn't a disease.
Well, ultimately, smoking was the direct cause of the thing in which caused their death. So what I would say
No,
here
smoking
is that I think
is
semantically,
different.
one moment, I think that this ultimately falls down to a semantic dispute, because I could see how somebody could like say in this like not 100% literal sense that somebody died from smoking cigarettes, if in smoking cigarettes that exacerbated the development of lung cancer that inevitably killed them. However, if we're speaking strictly from a literal sense, right, one would be right in saying, well, they died from lung cancer, yet that lung cancer was onset and exacerbated from smoking cigarettes. But regardless of like which conclusion we'd yield here, still ultimately you wouldn't be right, because your argument was
Parker
that
definitely wouldn't
regardless
be right.
if or if not COVID was a contributing cause for death, COVID would still be listed as the cause of death. So
See,
there's
that's the
literally
thing.
two options here. There's literally two options. Either you're both wrong because we reject that semantically we could say you died from something in a non-literal sense, i.e. from smoking cigarettes, or Parker is right and you are wrong.
No,
because we
no.
That's what I
accept
just
that we
said.
could
Because Parker lied about
semantically
me
say
repeatedly.
that
How
people
would he
could
be
die
right? He
from
lied
things
about
in a
me
non-literal
repeatedly.
sense, i.e. dying from smoking cigarettes. So it's either the case that you don't owe him $100 and he doesn't owe you $100, or that you owe him $100.
No.
I can't conceive of any circumstance where he would owe you $100.
Well, let me get into something first, okay? Because before we get into what contributing factor means, let me just
But
say, you
before we
guys.
do, Cheyenne, thank you so much for the $40. Thank you very
Oh,
much
great.
on PayPal. I
Interaction,
really appreciate it.
nice.
Get some W's for Cheyenne in the comment section for the $40. Thank you very much. I really appreciate it. Thank you. And again, I just want to remind you, you owe me $100, Dylan.
Yeah, even your LARPer friends.
I don't know.
My
it might be-
LARPer
it might be
friend?
my view. It might be my view that like no one owes anybody $100, because to be fair, like I do see points for both sides on saying, well, like maybe we wouldn't argue that somebody died from smoking cigarettes because what killed them was the cancer. And at the same time, I'd understand why somebody would argue that somebody did die from smoking cigarettes, because
feel
that
like
is
that's
directly what led
incoherent.
to the development of the cancer.
Do you think, could I just say something off topic
like
for a
if we're
bit? One
saying that
sec.
it's
I'll go
involved in
back.
causing the cancer, to say that someone died because of the cigarettes in that scenario would be totally reasonable to say.
Oh,
right?
wait,
Especially
actually,
if,
no,
if
I agree
the
with Parker.
illness is a contributing factor within the
Hey,
cause
hey,
of death.
one
Like we're
sec.
saying that they died, like when we're saying that we died from something, if there are contributing
Wait.
factors to that thing that you died from, it would list all of the contributing factors as the things that you
Wait,
died
wait.
from. So I
There's
think
an even better test.
I
There's
think
an
that
even better test. Do
Go
you
ahead.
think that like data that represents how many people die from smoking cigarettes is like reliable data? Is that like dishonest data? Is it
I've
like
been trying to speak for
is
quite
it
a long time.
dishonest to suggest, you know, like all like the institutions that will track like how many people die from smoking cigarettes, how like, oh, smoking cigarettes was one of like the primary causes of death in the last generation, or like those websites that will say like, oh, in the last 24 hours, you know, like 160 people died from smoking cigarettes. Is that dishonest data? Like clearly that's not dishonest data. We've never had an issue in America where we've had like 50% of society disputing data in which represents how many people have died from smoking cigarettes. So because we don't accept that as dishonest data, then we wouldn't accept the CDC's reporting on COVID deaths as dishonest data.
Okay. So I've been trying to speak for quite a long time. So before I just wanted to say something off topic, you know, but then I'll go back into this. So, you know how you guys say the left is nice, they're definitely not violent, and we also talked about how you partly contributed to Charlie Kirk's death. I
these are
received death
complete
threats.
pivots.
I received death threats from your own viewers after the debate.
Oh my God,
So-
people do this. I disagree with that.
Yeah, well, it happened. So I just want to say that obviously, and I'll go back to the original debate, but people are saying I'm pivoting. It's crazy. Just shows that your comment
Trump
section
supporters
is
send
very
me death
hateful,
threats.
very violent.
Trump supporters send me death threats. Is Trump responsible for that?
What?
Yeah,
That was
Trump
not, you were
supporters
an
send me.
influencer. Your
Trump
literal
supporters send me
viewers
death
sent me-
threats, right? Do you think that Trump is responsible for Trump supporters sending me death threats?
First of all, Trump is.
He can't
not
answer the question.
Even in the same category as you, Trump is a president.
Yeah, he's the president.
okay?
Therefore, he should be held at a
You are
higher
an
standard than
influencer
me.
who has like a cult following. So
What?
it's a little different.
I think that Trump has more of a cult following than me. That's ridiculous to say.
I mean, you could say that some Trump supporters are radical, but I think a lot of people on your side, like, I don't think a Trump supporter would send a random leftist.
I did. I've
debater
gotten
like
plenty.
me.
I've gotten plenty of death threats, dude. What are you
Yeah,
talking?
but
People
you're a
have come on my
public
live
figure.
stream
I'm
and
not a
threatened my
public
life.
figure, and I receive death threats.
Wait, hold up. People have come on my live stream and have threatened my life on my live stream. So again, because Trump
but you're
supporters
different
have
from me.
listen, because
You have
Trump
millions of followers.
so
I am just a random person. I came onto your live stream.
You should have seen the DMs of random liberal women after Trump won the election.
yeah, like do you
No,
blame
that's
Trump? Do you
ridiculous.
blame
Come on,
Trump for the
that's-
Trump supporters that have sent me death threats? Can you answer that question?
Well, can you listen to what you aren't on the same category as me, okay? You have millions of followers, okay? I am just a regular person.
Why does that
Understand? So
matter?
if I'm receiving death threats, that means there's something very wrong with your viewer base, obviously.
But if I receive death threats, that doesn't say anything's wrong.
Because statistically, it's more likely that you would.
Isn't it
Okay,
statistically
because you
more
have
likely
millions
that
of
if you go on a
followers.
isn't it statistically more likely that if you go on a platform that disagrees with you that you might get something like that anyway? I think that's going to be true for both of us in a circumstance where there's over 10,000 people
You
listening.
think it's just as likely that I should receive death threats as you?
I actually would argue it's more likely that I would, right?
Wait. I would argue that because both of you guys are on the same platform right now with the same viewership, that it'd be at a heightened statistic probability for the two of you. So, Dylan, if your argument here is that it's not as representative of the right as a whole when Parker gets death threats, that it's not representative of Parker's fan base as a whole when you get death threats.
No, but it
considering you're
is
on the
because
same
I'm just
fucking
one random
platform.
viewer.
The one random viewer that happens to be on a platform right now in front of over 10,000 people, right?
Yeah, but you understand, like, longevity and how you're not supposed to receive death threats just after one live stream, okay? That's ridiculous.
Wait, I'm just letting you know, I've gotten death threats by Trump supporters even before I had my platform. Like when I first started.
So
So I
it's
just-
funny because
So I just want to
the
clarify.
second I said this, you made it about you, which is so funny. So
Random
you were like,
people get death threats on the
I got
internet
death
all the
threats too.
fucking time.
You didn't even
we're-
say, oh, I'm sorry.
Listen, bruh. Random people get death threats on the internet all the fucking time. Like,
Yeah.
clearly that's something that we condemn. Clearly that's something that we think is
No,
wrong.
Parker didn't condemn
But
it.
the internet is
Yeah, I
just a
did.
very
I did condemn
toxic
it.
place.
You didn't
right?
apologize or anything.
The
or
first
say
thing I said
that
is I
your
think
fan
that's
base is
wrong, and I
radical.
think that's bad. That's the first thing I said.
You said, yeah, that's not good, and
That's-
then the
that's
second-
apparently not condemning it.
And then right after you said that, you were like, I've gotten death threats too. So you're basically
Yeah, no,
dismissing
the argument that I'm
story.
trying to you're completely misrepresenting what I'm saying. I brought up in response to it after I condemned it. I then said, okay, well then, do you think that Donald Trump is responsible, right, for Trump supporters sending me death threats because you were continuing to press it down after I literally condemned it?
But you don't understand the difference between me and you.
I
is
think that people
you
just get
I
death
already
threats on the internet when they
have
say
millions
things
of followers.
Wait, do you agree that people just get death threats on the internet when they say something controversial?
Not very. I think it's
See,
more
'cause
people
what I
on
would
the left
argue-
that give the death threats.
What I would
Definitely.
argue is when somebody puts themselves out there and says something controversial on the internet, regardless of
Wait,
the
what did I
nature
say
of the
that was
controversy,
controversial?
it's going to lead to death threats.
You're a
like,
Trump
bro,
supporter.
there's even
And you're
people who
a
are like
communist.
one moment. There's even people who will start like YouTube channels about like baking things, and they'll have like a controversial way to make their sourdough, and then that'll lead to people sending them death threats. I know this because
No.
I've seen it firsthand. Like unfortunately, right? That's just the nature of toxicity in an environment when controversial things are said on a platform. Now, of course, I think we're going to see a heightened level of these responses when that controversy is specifically surrounding politics. However, I think it's unfair for you to say that because you got a minute amount of death threats from a very small portion of not just Parker's
I
fan
got a
base, but the viewers
disproportional
that
amount.
happen to be in here.
A disproportional amount.
Compared to what? Disproportionate
Compared to
comparative
like
term.
Parker, who has millions of followers,
How
I
do
got
you
a
know that?
disproportional amount.
Wait, I definitely
know
get more
that?
death threats than you do. What are you talking about?
Oh my god, bro! You realize I'm a random person, right? And the second I came on your stream, I didn't even have any controversial opinions. Okay,
You're a Trump
So many
supporter.
people
That's a
agree with me.
controversial opinion.
How is that a controversial opinion? Half of America is Trump supporter, half is a Kamala supporter.
You don't think that being a Trump supporter is a controversial opinion when most of the population disagrees with you?
No, I don't. No, half of America agrees with me. Half of
No, it
America
doesn't.
agrees with me.
It's like 37% approval rating.
Yeah, like Trump isn't supported by half the country. There's
The
a lot of
approval
people
rating
that-
fluctuates, and that's a poll. Okay,
It's only been going down.
consistently over like the past decade, half of the people have supported
I'm sorry,
Trump,
that's
half of
just
the
a
people
lie.
support the other side.
Can
Okay.
you please give me a poll from the last 3 months in which indicates that at least 50% of America supports Trump's presidency?
Wait, did I not just say consistently over the past decade? It's half in half, right?
Well, you argued that when you said this on his live 3 days ago, it wasn't controversial for this reason. So I'd suggest that you use modern data. So can you please give me data from the last 3 months to suggest that over 50% of the country supports Trump?
Okay.
Oh,
Let's
got cooked.
even if it's 30, it's 39% now, I think. Right?
I said 37.
No, you're wrong. It's 38.5. I looked it up.
Last time I saw it was 37, but I don't know what you're looking at.
Yeah, well, let's just say 39% or 37. Does that, if 37% of the population agrees with me, does that make my statement controversial?
Yes.
Does that mean I deserve to die?
No, you don't deserve to die. What?
Okay, but you said a
That is
controversial
what
opinion,
makes it
inevitably you're going to get
controversial,
death threats.
Yes, I did say that. That's not saying that we would prescriptively say that it's a good thing that you get death threats or that you should get death threats.
Yeah, we said
However,
it's
said
bad.
it's expected.
The fact that inevitably saying controversial
Yeah, it is.
things on the internet does lead to death threats, okay? And we're not saying that that's your fault. We're always going to blame this on the person that's ushering the death threat. However,
Not me.
let's not play dumb here. All right, let's not play dumb here. Like, yeah, clearly saying controversial things on public platforms does lead to death threats in many cases.
Not really if you're on the left.
Okay, regardless of whether or not I condemned it, why are you holding me accountable for this?
I'm holding the entire
Like, you literally decided to
radical
completely pivot away from our
left-wing
conversation that we were
ideology
having just to
accountable.
randomly bring this up. Because you were trying to pivot away the fact that you owe me $100, and you were trying to bring up,
don't.
I consider you violent, Parker, because there were people that sent me death threats. I condemned that. I
Wait,
disagree with that. I never supported that.
Hey,
Do you,
you
think
can
that
stop
Parker
like
upholds radical left-wing ideology?
what?
Do you think that Parker upholds radical left-wing ideology?
Oh yes.
So why would you condemn his quote-unquote radical left-wing ideology, given the fact that it has led to him condemning the death threats in which he received?
I did not condemn Parker specifically as a
You
person.
condemn the ideology in which he upholds, because you said that you condemn radical left-wing
Because-
ideology, and then you affirm that Parker upholds radical left-wing ideology. So
I'll
why do you condemn
elaborate.
Parker's radical left-wing ideology, given that that ideology led to him condemning the death threats in which you received? Is this saying that you are mad at people in which don't think you should receive death threats because
I'll
Parker's
elaborate.
ideology has led to that outcome, yet you condemn it?
Can I elaborate?
I don't know. Can you? The right word would be may I, and yes, you may. Go ahead.
Yeah, so with his radical left-wing ideology, there are a higher percentage of violent people.
Okay,
That
says
doesn't
what?
mean they're all violent.
What's the evidence for this claim?
His ass.
Uh,
He's whipping it right out of his ass and throwing it at the wall and hoping it sticks.
I just gave you evidence.
Wait,
was
you
the
gave me
stat?
an anecdote.
The evidence that
anecdote's
I
not
got
evidence.
death threats after only a tiny
Yeah,
conversation.
and let me tell you this, buddy. An anecdote's not evidence. Like, what you're gonna have to provide to me here would be some statistic in which would be representative of a sample size of a population.
Okay, sure.
So please give me a statistic representative of a adequate sample size of a population in order to justify the claim.
Sure. So, how many assassination attempts have there been on conservative figures?
A handful.
Yeah, a handful. How many have there been on left-wing figures?
A
A
handful?
handful.
No.
What?
Not over the past 2 years.
There was 11 attempts on Obama's life. There was 4 attempts on Biden's life. In the last year, there was
No.
her husband got killed.
Not all attempts are the same.
Dean,
by the
you're
way.
covering your mic a little bit, just letting you know.
Obama had 11, Biden had 4 in the last year.
No,
The 4th
not
one's
all
got
attempts are
murdered.
the same.
Are they still attempts?
Some attempts are more serious, far more serious than others.
But
Okay,
are
so-
all attempts still representative of an underpinning of violent ideology?
No.
Wait, so you're telling me that there's some attempts that were made against the lives of people like Biden or Obama
Well, like
that
Charlie
weren't
Kirk.
representative of violent ideology?
Well, I'll just give you an example of.
No, don't pivot
violent-
away from this point. Are you arguing that some of the attempts made against the life of people like Obama or Biden were not underpinned by violent ideology?
I haven't heard of a single serious attempt on Biden or Obama.
Because you
even
haven't
heard-
researched it, Dylan.
Because it hasn't been serious enough to be covered.
He
by
hasn't
the
heard of
news.
it, therefore it doesn't exist. You don't exist! I can't see you! I can't see you! You don't exist!
Are you done?
Now you do
Okay.
exist. Now you don't exist. Now you do exist. Now
I'll
you
give
don't
you-
exist. Now you do exist.
Can
now
I
you don't
ask Dean
exist.
a question? Like, Dean, for example, said he despises Charlie Kirk in a video.
Yeah.
He said he despises him. Do you think that's not hateful rhetoric?
I think that's base rhetoric.
Based rhetoric like you've never seen before, I tell you that?
Yeah, exactly. Because you
it's
guys are
not-
violent.
It's not
How is that
hateful to say-
violent?
It's not violent or hateful to say that you despise people that agree with child torture, bro.
You said you despised him, and
Yeah,
then
because he agrees with child torture.
yeah. So basically, you think that because he's anti-abortion, he deserves to die.
Wait, say
No,
that you
that's not what we
despise
said.
Wait, can you despise somebody without thinking that they deserve to die?
Not really, honestly.
Define despise. Define despise.
Despise is- Oh, you can stop fake laughing now.
That's not a fake laugh. You actually just said
That's
in order
crazy,
to
man.
in order to despise someone, you have to think that they should die. Like what?
Dean literally said he's kind of glad he's gone.
That's not what he said.
Oh my god, this guy's lost. This guy's so lost. Hey Dylan, I have a question.
What?
Define despise.
A deep loathing for a person.
So
Which
a
means
lot
you
of-
have to call for their ex. By the way.
So you're saying that if you really hate somebody, you want them to die? I think that you could really hate people without thinking they deserve to lose their lives.
Oh wait,
Or, like,
so actually,
like-
Donald Trump hates all liberals. Does he want all liberals to die?
So true.
When has he said he hated all liberals?
Literally at the whole event they had after Charlie Kirk died, the funeral that they kind of made a Trump rally.
He never said those specific words.
Yeah, he
I
did.
hate all liberals. No, he never said that.
Yeah, he did. He says he hates the left.
That's not even true.
Yes,
why,
he does.
Why would he hang out with Mamdani then? He likes Mamdani, so how? That's obviously not true.
So he said that he hates the left. That's quite literally what he said. I can play the audio of him
He
saying
hates the
that.
left people.
What's up?
Dean said he hates a specific person.
Yeah, he said he hates his opponents. Are
Trump
liberals his
hates
opponents?
specific people. Trump hates specific people.
Are liberals his opponents?
Not all liberals are his opponents.
Really?
Yeah, I'm actually being precise. I don't make blanket statements like you, Parker.
In general, are liberals against Trump or an opponent to Trump?
There's probably the majority, but not all.
So he wants a majority of liberals to die then.
No, he doesn't like the ideology.
Oh,
he
okay.
doesn't hate
Do you
all
see what I
liberal
mean?
people.
Do you see what I mean? So we
Dean
disagree
hates
with the
people.
ideology that Charlie Kirk had. We despise the ideology that Charlie Kirk had. We never said that he deserved to die. That's not what we said.
Dean said he despised Charlie Kirk as a person.
Yes,
Dean said that he's glad Charlie Kirk is dead.
that's not what he said.
Well, maybe Dean can respond. I don't know why. why are you speaking
Donald
for him?
Trump said that he's glad that Robert Mueller is dead. How do you feel about that?
Yeah, that makes sense. He hates him.
Oh! Do you see how? Okay, and you have no problem with that. That's not violent rhetoric.
I would say that he knows Robert Mueller personally. So
I knew Charlie Kirk
he
personally.
Yeah, and you hate him too. That's violent rhetoric.
Okay, so it was violent rhetoric with Trump saying that about Robert Mueller, right?
See, it's different because you didn't know Charlie Kirk personally the same way Trump knew Robert Mueller personally.
What?
Robert Mueller
was the person.
personally attacked Trump.
So Charlie Kirk personally attacked me. I
he
personally, in person, debated Charlie in front of tens
Robert
of
Mueller
millions of
tried
people.
to spread hoaxes about. He spread the Russia hoax about Trump.
Me? You mean Robert Mueller? Sorry,
No, Robert Mueller spread.
that wasn't
the
a hoax.
Russian
He did the
hoax.
investigation.
It was a hoax.
He did the
was a hoax.
investigation. And
Yeah, it was
wait, has
proven to
Trump
be
even
wrong.
met Mueller?
Yeah, of course he's met Mueller. What?
I don't know if there's even evidence of that.
Well, Mueller has personally gone after him legally. That's different
but
than what Charlie Kirk did.
Charlie Kirk's gone after me in this way. By the way, that was an
Legally, no.
investigation. Robert Mueller did an investigation. And by the way, that's not justification to literally say that you are glad that he's dead. That's ridiculous. Now, based on your argument, you don't actually give a fuck about saying you're glad that people die. You'd be totally
you
okay
can
if Dean
stop
said that
LARPing.
about
You can
you.
stop
Actually,
LARPing now.
you must be
You can
totally
stop
okay if
LARPing
Dean
now.
said that
You can
about
stop
Charlie
LARPing
Kirk.
now.
You actually must say that about if Dean. It's okay that Dean said that about Charlie Kirk if he did say that, which by the way he didn't say that,
Yeah.
right?
I have
Because
to
you just
go,
said it was
but-
okay for Trump to say that about Robert Mueller. Robert Mueller was just doing his job. He left. That guy owes me $100. He's the most incoherent, gibberish generating idiot I've ever talked to. That guy is ridiculous. He's literally like, yeah, he's totally okay with Donald Trump saying that he's glad that literally Robert Mueller is dead. But apparently he's going to make up things about Dean and try to say that's true about Dean. And by the way, Dean, you can't despise someone without calling for their death. Yeah. I should have asked him about like if he despises liberals or liberal ideology. That would have been great. Oh my God, chat. This is so ridiculous. Justina, thank you so much for the $20. Thank you very much. I really appreciate it. Thank you. Yeah, he's so ridiculous, isn't he? So contradictory. Dis, thank you for the $5. Thank you. He believes in nothing. I know, right?